What's going on YouTube? We are here, West Virginia, Berkeley Springs, Potomac Air Park. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty good day. Got some cars showing up. So today we're going to be running 630 in a street class that they put together kind of last minute. We'll see how we do. I got a good 630 tune-up in the car. And then for street, I'm just going to send her. So we'll see how she does. We got her all changed over. She's ready to go. We also got Keith here today. Keith's over here today.
What's up?
What's up? Keith's a racing machine. He was out last night doing some extracurricular activities and brought her out today. So we're helping Keith out today as well. See if we can get some 360 GoPro. So we got her all back together. As you guys know, good compression test, good leak down. Haven't raced in 2.5, 3 months, so I feel a little rusty out here. Lindsay's out here today. The kids are over here. I know parents are coming. So we should have a full crew. No pressure at all. But yeah, a little rusty. We haven't raced in probably 2-3 months. Got the Hoosiers on. Ready to go. All right, we're getting into the swing of things now. So I got first pair in JV, right lane, I believe. And then I got number 4, left lane in street class. Street class, I drew the yellow Mustang. He runs pretty good. And then JV, I think I drew a new guy with a Nova. Keith is number 3 in small tire. He is running the red Mustang down there. Forget his name. I know his name. Forget his name. But me and him have raced, I think 2 or 3 times. But he used to run street class. He gutted his car and he's going in the small tire route. And it is getting faster. But I know this car's got it for him. So we're gonna go up here and help Keith. We'll see how it does and get her done. In the first pair now in street class. We had to really scramble quick just with how fast everything's moving, but we're up here, we're ready. I put the saucier tune in it, so we'll see what she does. I ran a good pass in the 630. Well, guys, it really wasn't a great day. The car was dipping boost real bad. I had no power out the hole, and then it was pushing some crankcase pressure. So I'm hoping the motor's okay, and I'm just gonna have to figure out what's going on. I'm not really sure why it's dropping boost so hard at the launch. It lost like 7 or 8 pounds as soon as I let the button go. So just kind of acting weird. Could be the Mac valve, maybe. I don't know, but we're gonna be packing up and heading out. Keith went out as well, his second pair. I just didn't get up there because it was just trying to run 2 classes was pretty hard, trying to get up there fast. But we had fun. We had friends and family come out, so we had a good time. It is what it is. That's drag racing. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna take a break and get back to the car and see if we can figure out what's going on. Well, guys, we are back. It is Sunday, the day after the race. That was probably one of the crappiest days of racing I've ever had. And it all started at the beginning of the day. I felt so out of place. First thing in the morning, even going to the race, I felt weird. I don't know what it was. I felt out of place. I didn't have any of my bearings in my head. I don't know if it was just a little bit of anxiety or not racing for 3 months and just getting the car back together and going out and making hits for the first time. I'm not sure what it was. But it was so weird. You guys saw I went out and I got the rings broken and it ran great. And then I get up there and I just had one problem after another, after another, after another. And then I entered in 2 classes, which was probably should have entered 2 classes, being that the car was fresh and getting back into the swing of things. And that was just more pressure to get the car turned around quick. And then when you have issues, you don't have time to fix anything when you're in 2 classes. So it was just a really rough day. And I had friends and family come out, and it sucks. Like, I think I made it 2 rounds in the JV, and then I went out first round in street. So then I go back to look at the data and had a lot of issues happening. One, I had relays burned up. My boost was way off target, like 7 pounds off target. And so I got something going on with the boost. Like when I let go of the button, my boost went from 25 to like 6, like to gate pressure immediately. And the car just went bleh, and it went nowhere. I mean, it ran its slowest passes ever at the airport. So it was extremely slow. The only pass was the first one, the JV. And of course I was lower boost, but it did seem to respond. But then the second and the third and fourth run, I had no boost reaction. Like it was lazy. When I let go of the button, it dipped real hard and barely was like trying to make boost, but it really wasn't. So then I thought maybe a boost leak. We were looking everywhere, I didn't see nothing. So I had to figure that out. And I kept puking out my puke tank. So then I thought the motor was hurt again. So yesterday I came home and the first thing I did was do a leak down to make sure that my cylinder walls were good. And motor is perfectly healthy. Only 5% leak on every cylinder, so it did tighten up a little bit. Like I told you guys, after a couple runs, those rings really start to wear in. And so the motor's healthy, but we're still puking out the tank. So after talking to a couple guys, this tank is really small. So this is just the Schmuck dual can. So it's got your overfill and it's got a small puke tank with one little filter. And as you can see, guys, I mean, my hand's bigger. It's really, really tiny. And all the big race car guys are running like gallon or 2 gallon puke tanks. Some guys run them in the back. Some guys do make custom ones that kind of sit up front. But after talking to the guys, they're like, the amount of boost you're running and the fuel you're running, and they're like, you need a bigger tank. And it's not necessarily like that the motor is hurt or it's pushing vitals. It's just, it needs more room to breathe. And so it's burping out my tank pretty bad. I did have some crankcase pressure, like 10 pounds, 12 pounds, but it's really not that bad. And we also think maybe me filling it to 6.5 quarts was too much oil, and I might have a lot of windage, and there's a lot of aeration and splashing of the oil, which means it's getting up into the valve cover and pushing oil out to my breathers. So we're gonna go back down to like 5, maybe 5.5 quart and see how that does. Remember, on the launch, sometimes it'll dip if I don't have enough oil in there. I thought I normally ran 6.5. Maybe I ran 5.5. I don't know. I was having a weird brain fart day. So I might just have too much oil in there. So we're gonna take some oil out and then I'll go out and do some pulls today. But first, we gotta figure out what's going on with our boost control. And I came out here yesterday, just kind of like looking, and I don't even know why I did this, but I tapped on the wastegates. So here's my one wastegate. You don't hear anything, right? Now listen to this one. You hear that? That metal tick? Why isn't this one doing that? So something is going on in this guy. And that totally makes sense. I've had the screws inside that hold the valve loosen up, and then it's just floating around. It's just doing whatever it wants to do. So if that's the case, that means I had one wastegate that was probably like creeping open or cracked open the whole time, and the other wastegate was shut trying to build boost. So they were fighting each other, and that's why it was lazy and I wasn't hitting my target boost tables. We actually thought it was maybe the MAC valve at first, and I do have a spare MAC valve, but after tapping that wastegate, I think something's loosened up in the wastegate again. So I remember one of them loosened up, and I redid it and put red Loctite on all those screws and everything. So that might be the right one that I did, and maybe the left one now loosened up, and I didn't do that to that one. So we're taking the wastegates off and seeing if we can see some loosage in the wastegates. And I'm hoping it is, because that will totally explain my boost issue. We opened up the wastegate and this is loose. Fan's on, it's hard to hear, but it's loose. You can see it moving. So the bottom plate is loosened up. It means these guys loosened up. It's not crazy loose, but there's wiggle there. And I don't know if that slight wiggle made a difference. These were all tight on here. So I'm not sure. It's not that much play, but I don't know if that may have been enough to bleed air past these maybe. I don't know. The diaphragm sits on top like that. So if it was bleeding air past those screws, maybe it was affecting how it regulated. So we're gonna tighten everything up. We're gonna inspect the diaphragm and make sure everything's good. And then I guess we'll go out and test. We still could possibly put the new MAC valve on just to take two things, MAC valve and wastegate, and see if we can't get our boost response back. Well guys, I just came across something else. So I forgot that they run this O-ring on the base plate. And when I put this guy on to feel the O-ring, there's no seal. Like the O-ring is not even like, it's actually like bobbles around. The O-ring, this should be a nice tight seal against the inside of that flange. So that means this is leaking too. So this seal feels extremely hard. And I do remember replacing, pretty sure it was that one, I put a new O-ring on it because when the plate loosened up, I think it may have tore. And so this O-ring here, I'm assuming it seals in any of the air that's up in the diaphragm. This seals it off so it doesn't bleed out. All right, we put a new O-ring on there, and look, see how it grabs the plate? So we got a new, I ended up using these HNBR O-rings. It looks like the last one is this brown color, and it might be these Vitens. And this is extremely hard and brittle, and it looks like it's shrunk. So we're gonna try this one here. What I might do is contact Tile, have them send me some new, whatever O-rings they use. These gates are 7 or 8 years old, so that could have been the original O-ring. So we're gonna give this O-ring a try, go out, see if it's working, go from there. But I am gonna contact Tile, get some O-rings, and I might replace both of them. All right, I actually just looked up Viten in this. So this Viten is a more higher temp, so we're gonna do the Viten. Even though my O-ring is not exactly the O-ring I wanted, these fit really well. This is just a hair large, but once I get the plate on, I think it'll smash it in there. So we're gonna see how the plate fits. All right, guys. Well, I think we fixed our boost problem. So this is on E85. I did a little pull here. I was actually targeting 15 and it overproduced, which I have been noticing. I think because I'm really taking a lot of timing out to keep the boost up. But anyways, once I launched, it didn't really dip much, just a pound, and then immediately shot up. And I had it targeting 28 pretty much right off the bat just to see how fast it would build. And I mean, it made 28 pounds pretty quick, 6,400 RPM. And then look at the target versus boost. I mean, it held it right on the money all the way through the shift. So it looks like we got our boost problem figured out. Let's go over here to the vitals. So as you can see, pretty high oil pressure, 90s. And then here's my crankcase pressure. So right around, I'd say 77, it starts to climb. By 8,000, we're at 3.4. And then by red line, 83-ish, 84-ish. Actually, that's before this shift. So 82, 83, we're at 4.5 pounds, which ain't that bad. I did see higher yesterday at the racetrack. I saw as high as like 13, and we were pushing some stuff out. But after I fixed the wastegates, I ended up draining a whole quart of oil out, and I got nothing out the can. So it's clean. And as you can see, my crankcase is looking good. So I think eventually I do need to go to a bigger puke tank. I just think being on the good fuel, running rich too, because you got to run it pretty rich, it just burps a lot more, it vents a lot more out. So if we're gonna stick to that route, I think I might have to go bigger puke tank. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually take the pump 85 out, put in some Renegade 85 so I can crank the boost up to like 40 pounds and see if it burps. If it doesn't burp and the crankcase is low, then I'm gonna go ahead and put it on alcohol and see what it does on that. So kind of like a 3-step process, kind of see if it's the alcohol that's causing it to burp a lot or if it's just the boost pressure. So that was 28, 29 pounds. We're gonna put Renegade in it. We're gonna go hit 40 pounds of boost, see if it pukes, see what my crankcase pressure is, go from there. Another thing that happened today, my laptop decided to just shut off on me. It reset all my max CCU settings on my plots. I had to redo all my plots. And then I went to start it up and it wouldn't start. I had a whole computer apart trying to figure out what's going on. And it is falling apart. It's like 7-8-year-old computer. I'm probably gonna have to get another computer. I don't need that taking a crap on me at the racetrack. And then I'm just completely out of luck. So slowly figuring out these problems. It looks like the O-ring and the loose plate was the issue. I do have tiles O-ring coming. So once those come in, I probably will take both apart again, swap in tiles O-ring, put that in, because right now I just have like a cheap Viton Harbor Freight O-ring kit in there. Don't really trust using that for long term. So again, once I get those in, I also got some new screws for the plates. I'm going to put all that in the new in the wastegates. So we shouldn't have to worry about the wastegates for quite a long time. This also means my MAC valve is probably okay. So let's put some fuel in this thing and go see what 40 pounds feels. All right, guys, well, I just got back from a ethanol Renegade 40-pound pull, and we got no burpage. And the crankcase pressure was normal, 3 or 4 pounds, that's it. So I think we need to move to these guys. These are Smart Coils, IGN 1As. These are the big dogs. These things put out like 8 times the amount of spark and power than our stock coils do. And this is what all the big guys run. These are very powerful coils. I think that my factory coil system, ignition system, it's a stock ignition system. There's no boost ignition, nothing. It's factory coils, and I have to gap the plug so tight so it doesn't blow out. I just think the coils are way too weak, and I think we're leaving a lot of fuel in the chamber, and it's blowing by and causing it to burp. So I think that's what's going on. We're just not burning all the fuel off that we need to. It might not be a bad idea to get a bigger burp can and some bigger vent lines. It probably is a good idea, but I think our main problem is we're not burning all the fuel on the methanol. So we're going to be having to put these IGN 1As on. If I want to race anymore, probably just going to run on the Renegade from here on out. And we'll step off the methanol once we get the coils on, and we'll do some testing and see if we burp anymore. But the car's healthy, it pulled really hard on 40 pounds, even with my ethanol timing, which is a lot lower. It felt strong and good. So everything's fine, everything's fixed. We will replace the O-rings when tiles come in. Those were just to make sure that's what was happening, and it was. I mean, it came up on boost and held it and just went. So no problems making boost now. So, but that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Sorry the race didn't go well, but hey, that is what happens. We had so much stuff failing us. It was so out of character for this car. Normally we go places and this car just performs flawlessly all day. And it just was not my day yesterday, and that is what happens sometimes. But we'll get it fixed up. We'll get back out to a race and hopefully get in that winner's circle. So appreciate it, guys. Comment, like, subscribe, like for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See you.